Hello and welcome to Let's Roll a Gaming, the tabletop gaming show from a casual perspective. So today's the day. The Armageddon starter box has been released. So of course, in the last 2 weeks since I pre-ordered it, I played a game of Warhammer 40k to prepare myself, right? No. I actually managed to get into games with two different systems. I was able to get a game of Warmachine and Age of Sigmar, which were both surprising. I happened to see that people were posting to want to play games, and I'm up for trying these games out because I really do enjoy them. And I don't always get a huge lot of chance to do that, although for the next couple months it feels like I'm going to be a little overdoing it. These were good experiences that I had playing game systems that I really like. You have Warmachine, which is the initial game that I really got into back in 2011, 2012 during the Mark II era. So it wasn't super broken. There was still a handful of really bad lists out there, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. And I haven't been able to play much since around 2016 or so, just because life got in the way, family obligations got in the way, and it's just, life. I'm not as young as I used to be, but I still liked collecting when I could, at least until it disappeared because Mark III things just kind of fizzled out everywhere until they redid it with Mark IV, which I have some issues with the resin material that they've gone to for the system, and but by and large, I like it. So I was able to get a game of that in, and part of what this show is about is looking at games I played and thinking about what I did to help me remember, and maybe to help somebody that may be looking into a game and possibly gets an idea or understands something. So I wanted to talk about first the Warmachine game because that's the first one that I played. And when I first got into Old Umbrey last year when it was first released, I was overwhelmed. I mean, there's just so many rules and layers. And at the time, my larger lists were dealing with Primeval, which takes corpse tokens, which one of the models from the starter set gives away. And it was a challenge for me. I was just really overwhelmed. I also hadn't really played the game in 10-ish years by that point. So I was getting used to a lot of rules and getting used to how the casters work and the warlocks. And so I was still kind of relearning this stuff after getting the SKS earlier last year. But this time around, it wasn't as bad. I mean, I had an opponent that was very gracious and helped walk me through things that I needed to know since I still kind of am a newer player because I don't get to play too much. And he actually helped walk me into winning the game, which is one of the few times I've won any miniature game, let alone I think this is the first Warmachine game I probably have won. And it was a really good experience. The key lessons from there is with the model Veroni for Old Umbrey, because it deals with corpse tokens, you can't just think about having it off to the side away from your cohort. Because you need to make sure it's within a unit that deals with corpse tokens like the Primeval. So this particular game, I didn't have a Primeval, so it didn't matter, but it's something I need to think about. I need to remember that because it's a corpse generator, so the Primeval really likes it. And the other thing I need to remember is like with I can't remember the name. With the other War Beast from the Battle Group box, the wolf-looking one of the options that you can give it enables it to jump. So if you are within a certain distance from creatures, you can make your movement, and then you can jump and attack. And that's really cool. So that's something else that I have to really keep in mind. The abilities that the different pieces of the war beasts and warjacks have, which is one of the downfalls I find of the way that you can mix and match everything I kind of miss having set guys you can't really do anything with, because there's so many pieces to be magnetized in this game. One of the bigger lessons that I learned is how one of the tools that you have with Bodane is his spell that can pull you forward 3 inches. That can be the difference. And it is actually what ended up causing me to win the game. Because I pulled in the Warlock closer to me and was able to charge him. And then because his staff had Life Trader, he could cut himself or hurt himself and actually give boosted damage. And so through all of that, I was able to kill his caster. And that was a good feeling for me because I don't normally win these games. Or as Warlock, I always, I always just think Warcaster now. But it was really fun being able to have that happen and to be able to see how the things work and to not feel quite as overwhelmed. I mean, there was a lot going on, and I've got to work on my speed and understanding the units. By and large, I really liked it. So then we get to the next game, Age of Sigmar, which I have not played since January 2025. I got into Oryx right at the end of 24 with the Battle Force that came out, and finally got a second game in just yesterday, actually, on Friday the 19th. And that was a fun game. I've tried Seraphon and the Soulblight Gravelords, and they didn't sync with me. I didn't like dealing with all the models, the little models, the hordes, shambling zombies and skeletons. Just I would rather have more beefy vampires. And then the Seraphon, I never got a list that really worked well with me, and I didn't like how the Saurus warriors made me feel when they would get destroyed before I could even do anything. And so I looked at the orcs, and they looked a little beefier. And I have had so much fun with them, even though their battle tome has some issues. For somebody like me who hasn't really been able to have a lot of fun in Age of Sigmar, the orcs have really gotten me a lot of fun because you just go up and do some grumping. Get that wah on. So it was really good getting to play that game. So of course that was a game that was yesterday, and what did I learn? What was the most important thing I learned about that? Would be using redeploy during the opponent's movement phase. They move in to charging distance of you, or to charging distance, and then you redeploy 3 inches. Well, I did that with my Taskmaster Big Pig, and was able to give him momentum points, which gave his tusks extra attacks. That was key, and that was just wonderful being able to see that I had that type of way I could move it without having to worry about running. And it's a way to build up momentum. And then the other thing is with the detachment I'm using, the fact that I can move I can have 2 units move 3 inches as long as I have a mega boss was really good. Biggest complaint I have is that everything is 4 inch movement, but I guess with the redeploy that helps. Or the the army feature that I was using did helped with that. The other thing is like the attacks are I don't understand why everything is hitting on fours, wounding on threes, hitting on fours, wounding on threes. Really feels like the boss at least should be able to hit easier or have a reroll mechanic built in or something. But that aside, was I really liked having bigger guys and being able to move things around. And I learned the importance also of you you roll the dice and you get to choose where you want to charge. I did a charge that I never thought I would have been able to do, and that tied up the enemy's character and enabled it so that I could get some other characters out, and that was nice. It was good seeing how I could do that. We weren't able to officially play out the rest of the game, but he only had 3 guys left on the table, and I had a full unit, a war pig, and a handful of brutes, and a mega boss left over. So I would have, in the next few turns, would have been able to control enough that there would have been no issue. So it was a nice feeling when he conceded, and when we played it out and said, "Yeah, you won." And yes, it's a technicality, but it's still a good feeling to know that I was able to do that. I was able to get the control up. I was able to do that kind of stuff. I mean, now I know in other armies, they're just going to be in your face really fast, and I won't be able to get that same feeling of control, but it was nice being able to do that. And the game reminded me how much I liked it. I tried Warhammer Fantasy Battles a long time ago. And the problem with that is there was no easy way to learn it without going and playing and playing and playing. And at the time, I had no game shop I could go to except for the Warhammer store. And that's not a store I would ever want to. It was a far 20 minutes away. And unless you got there when they opened, it was going to be standing room only on the weekend, which is the main time I could play. So it was a lot harder to get games in at that time. And when Age of Sigmar came out, I was like, I like it because it was a lot easier to learn, not as many mechanics. There's a few things I wish they had done differently, but there's at the same time it's a good game, good system, and it was nice being able to play without some of the General's Handbook stuff and just playing a basic game without the battle strategies and stuff. Just there's so much stuff to remember with that game, but it was great. And so my next video is going to be an unboxing of the new Warhammer Armageddon box, which I have sitting behind me. Thank you and have a wonderful day.